Hey guys, well, we've got a mail call. Obviously I've blacked out my address because I don't want anybody knowing my personal details. But yeah, it's something I've ordered. So I think what we'll do is just basically open it up and find out what it is. So, right, hang on a minute, I'm just going to get something to open it up with. So let's have a look. Right, hang on. This isn't easy when you're trying to hold a camera. Well, you're trying to hold your phone whilst you're undoing something. So I'm just going to unseal this end of the box, and we will see what we've got that's come through. Let's have a look. Oops, this isn't easy. So whoever has sent this has certainly wrapped it up well, I know that much. Right. Gildan Bennett. Right. Let's try and open the other end. If I can. There we go. Oh, let's have a look. Let's unseal this end of the box. Sorry about this, guys. This isn't easy when you're trying to film this. Right, hang on. I think this might be a classic kit. If you will bear with me, because I'm trying to balance this on the end of the bed. Hang on. Right. Oh god, it certainly wrapped it up well, I know that much. Fair blade here. It's not trying to open Fort Knox. Anyway, let's just follow the line of the packaging. He says, hang on a minute, God almighty, hang on, let's try this end. I think I know what this might be actually. Oh, definitely a case of pass the parcel. Hang on. Let's unwrap this. I've got a feeling I think I know what this may well be. Oh, yeah, it is. It's a Revell kit. Yeah, I think I know what this might well be. Okay, right, let's unseal it this end. And unseal it this end. I'll keep you on tender hooks here. There we go, we're going to unseal the end here. It's a well-known classic naval aircraft. That's a clue for you. Which Airfix actually just brought out 1/48 and reboxed it. Gildan Bennett. Have I got it up the right end? No, I haven't. Hang on. Ooh. Right, bear with me, guys. There we are. We're nearly there. Hang on. Oh, yep, it's what I think it is. It's a classic naval aircraft. there you go. It's the gunnet. There you are. So I'm just going to pull this out of the box. Hang on. And here she is. The gunnet T Mark 5. I was going to get the trumpeter version, but to be honest with you, this was at a very cheap rate. I'm trying to get this off now. Yeah, so there we go, guys. That is the gunnet, Fairy Gunnet T5. So that's going to go nicely in my inventory. In fact, I might convert it as a COD aircraft to go along with all the aircraft that were on the old RO98 Ark Royal. Or not, or maybe I'll just keep it as a T5. So let's have a little look. A little unboxing. There we go. Let's pop that on there. It's a bit of an impromptu unboxing. There's an actual illustration of the kit itself. As you can see, the kit number is 04845-0389. I'm not sure. I think this came out around about 2004, I think, when they reboxed the AS1. So there's a little history about the aircraft itself, and then obviously when you go inside, he says, trying to open up the instruction sheet, you obviously got all your notices. Don't glue it, don't sniff it, don't make love to it, etc. And then obviously there's some of the little instructions in God knows how many languages, and there's your colour guide, etc. Obviously to do with all Revell paints, but obviously I'll have to cross-reference that on the colour app. Again, there's a map out the sprue trees. Easy for you to say. So you obviously need to check that against what you've got in the kit. First off, you start with the cockpit and navigator's tubs, which you can see there, which is added to the cockpit floor and main frame of the aircraft. And as you've got side panels for the navigator station there, and obviously control panels go in, the headrest for the cockpit for the pilot. There you've got your control panel which goes in, and obviously it's got a decal sheet for both control panels. Next stage is obviously putting the interior windows in for the navigator station, and then obviously you've got the option of having the undercarriage down or not, and then obviously you button up all the fuselage along with the interior detail, put the front of the double member engine in along with the, I would imagine, the firewall, and then put the ailerons onto the wings, and then put the two wing halves together. Same with the other side again, and then obviously with your tail planes you put the them tail flaps which go onto the tail planes, two halves to go together. Both wings and tail planes go on. Okay, oh yeah, I just missed this bit around there as well, the tail hook goes on. So there you go, and then obviously you've got the option of having the flaps down if you want, or just basically up. Then the exhaust goes in, the exhaust hub, that's your bomb bay. You can have that either open or closed, but obviously you'd have to cut it with a knife. And then obviously the wheels go together onto the front nose wheel bay, etc. Again, you can position the you can have the obviously undercarriage up or down. I'm going to have it down. And again with the central undercarriage bays, they go on along with the undercarriage doors, etc. And this is the configuration if you want it wheels up. Okay, and then there's your bomb bay. You can either have it open or closed. I'll probably have it closed, to be honest with you. And then obviously you've got the option of having the canopy open or closed again. Okay. So that's that. And then obviously you've got the nav lights on either side of the wing which go in, and then obviously you've got the control, you've got the cockpits glass that goes in onto the front cockpit, and obviously the navigator station, that's back, slightly slid back or closed, it's entirely up to you. And then obviously you've got the front part of the canopy to go onto the cockpit there, and the navigator station, etc. And then obviously you've got the assembly of the main propeller hubs, because obviously it had a double member engine. Not quite sure what that is, whether that is where the step goes down to get into and out of the cockpit, I'm not sure. This is putting the pitot tubes or airspeed indicators on the main rear of tailplane. Double member propellers go in, and then that's it, the assembly is done. And then obviously you've got the options of the two colour call outs. This is for the preserved example, which is at Sharman Hendricks at Richmond Airport in Wisconsin, January 2013. And then obviously you've got the other option of a Gannet T50849 Naval Air Squadron at Coldwar, September 64. That's probably the version I'm going to go for, to be honest. It would be more historically accurate. So there you go. So that's that. Right, not much to it. One pack of sprues. And these are, if I can get it into shot, that's your exhausts there. That's part of the control of the pilot's station, I should imagine. I think this is part of the mechanism for the wing tailplanes. Or these are. No, these are, beg your pardon. Not sure what that is. Obviously one of the control panels, levers, etc. It's actually not a bad level of detail in that. You could easily paint that, dry brush it, and then just put a little bit of clear into the bezel panels. So yeah, that'd be nice. And then we're moving on to the main crux of the actual aircraft. That is actually the cockpit floor. And obviously you've got the wing spars either end for that. That is the propeller hub. Some of the tailplanes. Again, you've got some nice crisp detail there. And then obviously you've got the undercarriage doors. And then obviously you've got them closed there, so you'd have to cut that open to get them open. A few parts of the front nose wheel. I think that's where the actual navigator's hub or station goes. Not sure what these are. You've got your main propeller hub there for one of the propellers. That is possibly part of the undercarriage bay there. Wheels there. Don't look as though, well, they are. I think they are weighted. I'm not sure. And then obviously you've got the other propeller hub there. You've got the rear headrest there for the pilot. So you've got your one side of the fuselage there. Nice fine panel line detail, I have to say. There's your tailplanes, there's your elevators. Again, the headrests. Let's turn it around the other way. Not much detail on the interior. There is some on the actual bomb bay, which you can see there. And then obviously you've got the Revell label, which you're not going to see once it's all buttoned up, so I won't worry about sanding it down. Another control panel. I think that's the back of the navigator station, possibly there. Another headrest, and then obviously you've got the air intake for the double mammoth engine, propeller hub, etc. I think this is the sonar there, if you have it in flight configuration. So that's that, and then obviously you've got the front nose wheel, or one of them. Again, the level of detail on the control panels is very nicely moulded. So that's that. Obviously you've got the side planes for the tail planes, which you can see there. Nice panel line detail again. That is the interior of your bomb bay. Nice level of detail on that. There's one of the, must be the nose wheel bay, and there's one of the undercarriage legs. There's your pilot and navigator's stations, wireless operator, I should imagine. I may possibly get some aftermarket seat belts for that. There's your tail hook, tail planes, both halves, which you can see there. Again, not much as regards panel line detail on it, but very subtly done. Tail planes for the, oh well, the rudders, elevators for the tail planes. Get nice panel line detail. And obviously you've got the wing surfaces actually underneath the wing, nicely done again with the panel line detail, as you can see there as well. For the upper half of the wing, get a nice panel line detail there. It's just giving the example. So that's that, and then obviously that's pretty much it. Oh, hang on, where's the glass? And then obviously what you've got in this packet, I'm not going to get them out, is all your glass for your cockpit, etc. So that is clear as a bell, so you can see the detail in that. In fact, what I might do is just get some aftermarket for the interior, just to get make it sort of pop a bit more, because I know you can actually get that. So there you go. Now, as regards the decals, which you've got here, obviously got the markings for both. Now, I'm not sure who the decals are done by. Oh, they're actually done by Revell as well, so they should sort of go down fairly evenly. Obviously, you've got decals for the control panels, which you can see there, and the actual navigator station for the Doppler. Oh, hang on, you've got decals for the seat belts as well. I think I might go for aftermarket myself to give it a bit more realism. And obviously you've got the markings for both aircraft. The one that's preserved over in the States was in flying condition. I don't know if it still is. And then obviously the one that was based at Coldwar with 849 Squadron. So there you go. So all in all, this looks a very good kit. I'm just going to pop it back all in the bag, and it should build into a lovely representation of the actual organic T5. Now, I think Ares used to do a tank set for the COG version. I don't know if you can get hold of it. If anybody knows of it, just leave me a link in the comments column of this video, and I will take that on board, because obviously I'm either going to convert this into the COD aircraft, which was based on the old R09 Art Royal, or I might well leave it for the trumpeter kit, because I know that one's quite a nice kit as well. But yeah, just leave me your thoughts in the comments, what you think of the kit, or if anybody's built it. I'm just going to pop this back in the box. Oh, I know it's a bit of spur at the moment, this one. Actually, I'll just pop these decals back in where they should be. I don't want them to get scratched or marked, really. I would have done it in the storage room, but it's cluttered as anything in there, so I'm just popping that back in the box. Oh, with a protective sheet. Okay, let's just get that back in the box. Sorry, I'm just trying to balance this all out with one hand on the camera and the other one on the kit. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, I won this one on eBay, believe it or not. So I'm not sure if this kit is still being produced or not, but I know Trumpeter have got both versions out, so you can still get hold of that. And there's a few of the Revell version. I know I saw the Kriegsmarine version on eBay as well, so whether that's still in their circulation, I'm not sure. Or the AS1, but we shall see. Just going to get that back in there if I can. Oh, come on. There we are, she's back in. So there you go, that's an impromptu reveal and unboxing of the Gannet T5 by Revell, kit number, where are we, 04845. there you go, guys. That's it for now. So until the next time, get kit crazy, happy modelling, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.